drink so that we've got that ready to go.
Yeah. Which one is this?
Dead Guy.
Rogue Spirits. Dead Guy.
This almost smells like mead. Dead Guy Wiki.
Yeah, Rogue's a really cool distillery and brewery. They started doing that a long time ago. They have an entire farm, so they do most of their ingredients are actually grown on the farm.
You killing the content? Gonna say this again? You gonna
Probably.
Oh, okay.
Knowing him, he probably
I'm
already
just waiting.
hit record.
I'm just waiting.
Of course I am.
Of course he dick. He hits record and just like lets me go fumble fumble, and then
Every episode that I've listened to so far, you're asking, "Are you on? Am I live?
Are we going? Are we
And
on?
it's like,
let's
yes.
do it live. Let's do it live.
We'll do it live.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Well then, I guess since we are live, welcome, dear listener, to the Savor the Burn podcast. My name's Jonathan. Across the table from me is the illustrious, whatever, I don't know, W2. And today is a very special occasion because we have a guest in-house. Mr. Chandler, would you like to introduce yourself? Tell us about yourself a little bit.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me here. First-time caller, long-time listener. It's so great to be here with Savor the Burn, which, I mean, I'm going to introduce myself, but I guess my first question is this an opportunity for me to, I've had a lot of heartache in my life. And I've been looking for like a Delilah in my life, and I was wondering if you two would be those people in this. Like when I think of Savor the Burn, yes, cocktails, rocktails, that's what I read on the description on Spotify.
Right.
If you're listening to this, please check it out, like and subscribe, right?
Yeah.
It'd be kind of weird if they're already listening to it and liking and subscribe. But anyway, regardless.
But sometimes they like us on Facebook, but they haven't subscried on YouTube.
Gotcha.
Or they've subscribed on YouTube, but they haven't liked us on Instagram
But I was wondering if the burn part could be like helping fix this broken heart of mine with some suggestions, some helpful tips and different things like that.
Well, we've got whiskey.
Is that not...
We've got whiskey.
Is that not what you do? I just want to make sure, what's the game plan here?
We've got, you said Delilah. Now, I don't know if you mean Delilah in the biblical sense. I think...
No, I don't think that.
I think
thinking...
she was with Samson?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she cut the hair. She turned him in.
Yeah, she cut the hair, so that's not what I'm thinking of.
That bitch.
I'm thinking of like more radio Delilah, like I could call in and say, hey, listen, could you play Wind Beneath My Wings or something like that? Is there a rock version that would help me heal? Like you got a rock song?
Yeah. As far as healing a broken heart, I'm afraid that's gonna take time.
Okay.
Maybe a little counseling. And just remember, it's okay to not be okay. I've learned that lesson several times the hard way over and over. Every time I forget, I have to learn it again.
Well, thank you so much for having me on here. I appreciate it. I'm gonna leave now.
Oh no!
You already fixed everything.
Oh no!
There's more to.
There's more. We haven't. We haven't touched the wiki.
I honestly thought that that's all that I needed to do. I came in here.
No, you're stuck. Okay. You're here for the evening.
Well, okay, cool.
And we're gonna do multiple episodes here tonight.
Okay, I'm excited for this. So I should have done an introduction, right? I think I've already done it. Heartbroken. I've been through the mud.
Been through
the muck. I've done seriously, Chandler Johnson. I'm a designer, lover of all things that are awesome, and I am excited to just hang out with two amazing, beautiful people in front of me. So that's basically what I got.
All right.
I'm just I'm just the third person, just trying to the caboose, just bringing it in.
That's
here.
good.
Yeah. Chandler and I have known each other for a minute now, and through design, through work, and that. And
so you didn't meet him at the Art Institute?
Nope.
Or you guys met on a job?
The nonprofit that we used to work for.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Is kind of where we met. And
the mothership, as I refer to it these days.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a mystery, and that's the thing. I'm a little bit of a mystery.
That's okay.
I think this is a part where
Secret agent man.
All right.
What you're looking for is like I'm looking to be a little bit of a tease where people are gonna again savor the burn. They get a little bit of who Chandler is right now. But hopefully you ask me back later down the road, and then I give him a little bit more. Maybe I give him the name of the organization. Maybe that's a teaser. Maybe. I'm not. Listen.
No
promises.
Right.
No promises. But it's basically I'm going for the long plan, like Marvel Comics MCU type thing, like a 10 episode like storyline.
So you're giving us a kind of a view from a window into the Chandler universe.
Yes. Yeah. And it's just a tease. It's just a little teaser. Like you're just getting a little bit.
We're looking at the window, but there's a curtain.
Yeah.
It's kind of blocking out some of the sunlight, but it's kind of not.
Yeah.
It's a white curtain.
Yeah.
Of mystery.
Yeah. You're like, I know that. Like, you've seen the silhouette.
Yeah,
you
know something's going on.
You're like,
out
that's
there.
beautiful.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's interesting. There's depth and breadth and wild wonder.
Yeah. I really like that.
Could you move over a little bit? That.
Yeah. Wayne he wants to see it too. Only he's seen more than I have.
It's a little bit. It's true. Maybe too much.
Okay.
Maybe too much. So I'm excited. Like, that's basically who I am.
So help me out a little bit. We haven't even talked about what's on the docket for our first pour tonight, and I know this is one that has become quite the favorite of yours.
It's true.
But help me remember, where did our mutual love of whiskeys start?
I almost think it's because of you that our mutual love of whiskey began. Because, like, you would talk about, hey, I've got into whiskey, or like, hey, I have all these different brands that you should try. Mm-hmm. I think I came over here once just to hang out, and we were talking, and
try this.
You were like, try this, try this, try this, and I was like, okay, like this is good. I don't really love this. This is great. Mm-hmm. And then you talked about how you accumulated all of these with, what's the name of the
Flavor.com.
Flavor.com.
Yeah, which actually I was getting ready to say, over the last couple years, this one in particular, Chandler has had me put that in your cart too.
So that's basically how I started collecting.
Okay.
Was through him sharing his love and his passion of whiskey, and then me taking that passion and being like, all right, like, let me have my own collection, so that from time to time I can, when I'm feeling like I need a drink and I just want something really small, simple, quick, this is going to do it. And I am really excited to have this drink with you all because it is one of my favorites.
That's cool. And I don't think I've had it before.
And we've talked about Flavor.com quite a bit throughout the last few episodes. And, one of the things that we have been doing is I have accumulated a lot of their taster boxes with the little samplers, and so we've kind of been plowing through those at a pretty good clip, and finding some great ones along the way.
Definitely.
And
I was just thinking about that
variety.
Compass Box Peat Monster. That was one of your testers, and it was really good. Actually, we were also talking about that today.
I was at the store today, and I was very, very excited to find the good about a online subscription like this is you get access and exposure to a lot of new things that you may not necessarily be able to find in your area. Or like this one, it typically is not available in the local store, but it's available online. And actually, I got this bottle. We've talked about my sister who's in Knoxville, Tennessee. My brother-in-law's side of his family is from Oregon. And she's very, very fond of... I'll just go ahead and say it to kind of break the ice on this. Rogue Spirits, Rogue Brewing Company, Rogue Farms. They kind of do a little bit of everything. And this particular bottle, I don't remember what the date on it says, 2013. So I've had this bottle for a couple years now. And it's one of those things where it's just kind of sat in the back of my... I love it. It's a great whiskey, but it sat in the back of my cabinet for a while.
And there's a reason for that too, right? Because of you wanted to do like a side-by-side comparison,
which we have. It's been a minute since we've done that. It's always fun to kind of try. Has this whiskey evolved any? Have they changed anything in the bottling process, or it's sitting in the cabinet for years? Has anything kind of changed within it?
If you had the topper off and on and off and on, multiple times, it would, replace the air in here, and the ethanol evaporates out, and that would definitely affect the taste over time. But, you said you've had this in the back. It really hasn't been opened.
Yeah, I've nipped on it here and there over the years. The last time, this is Rogue Spirit's Dead Guy whiskey, and what's fun about this is Rogue started off as a brewing company, and they put out a lot of great beers, a wide variety. One of their flagship beers that they're known for is their Dead Guy Ale. And recently, they've expanded on that, and they've done a Dead Guy IPA, and then they have a Dead Guy, maybe a Dead Guy Stout, maybe the other one. I'm blanking on what the other one was. But they've kind of done some variations on that. Well, back in 2000, this was 2013, so probably 2010, 2011, somewhere in there. On top of the brewery, they have their farms, where they do a lot of local produce and whatnot. That expanded into a Rogue Spirits, where they do a gin, they do a couple different rums. I've had their hazelnut rum, which is pretty good.
That sounds good.
And they also have a couple vodkas, and they've actually got 2 or 3 different whiskeys. They've got a one that is aged in one of their stout barrels, so it's kind of that inverse kind of a thing. You know, beers have been aging in whiskey barrels for a long time.
Yeah.
Now you're starting to see a few distilleries here and there are starting to do the inverse and take those stout barrels and then re-aging their
I saw
their whiskeys.
Jameson has an offering now that they've done that too.
Yeah, so what they've done is they've taken the same mash bill that they do for their beer, and they've applied it to the distilling process and produced a whiskey off the same recipe.
I will say this, one of the things that with the bottle that Wayne has versus the bottle that I have is the branding has changed and has evolved, which is really, really cool. They now have like a topper that has the dead guy design on it. And it looks a little bit more like kind of like pirates, like bottle, like what you would imagine a pirate would have or carry around a little bit more. And so like I love the way that you can see the evolution of a brand that started off venturing into something completely new and now has figured out, oh, people really love this. We're going to make this a thing, and we're going to be able to expand and kind of create a, extension of what we're doing.
Yeah, like Chandler said, it's really cool to kind of watch something like that go through that evolution process.
And I'll say this, like for me, I'm still a rookie, fully a rookie when it comes to understanding all the elements that it takes to make great whiskey. But what I do love is the experience from start to finish. And I always trying to think of, like, even with the bottle, from a designer's perspective, like what the experience that you're getting from like the look of the bottle, the feel of the bottle, that pour, taking the topper off, opening it and then pouring the drink, then finally drinking it. But like there's so many other parts to it that I also find fascinating, that some of my decisions to Wayne, when I'm asking Wayne, hey, could you hook me up with this drink or this bottle or whatever, is the overall experience. And one of the things that I think is really great about Flavor is being able to get some expert opinions, because I mean, it's a membership. So you're going in there and people are giving their feedback that you hopefully are going to trust them more than just Google or something like that. Or like you're not going to have to go through the weeds to find true connoisseurs that are going to give feedback. But then at the same time, I get to see the bottle. I get to see where it came from, a little bit of the history of it. And I think that Dead Guy's a perfect example of, if you've been there from the beginning, to see kind of the storytelling and the history as it's evolved into this new thing. I think about that at the same time with like, and I know this is off subject, but like with beer, with Boulevard being here in Kansas City and watching them evolve from where they've started off to and to where they are now. It's just been really, really cool.
I completely get that, and it's fun to watch and understand where it started and kind of where they're heading and seeing the arc of that big picture.
And the thing is that I feel like you hope that they don't lose their way, right?
Right.
Because my concern is that like what makes Rogue Spirits great is like that taste, right? That's the essential thing. It doesn't matter about anything else except for what's in the bottle. You know, it could still be the same looking bottle. At the end of the day, I want it to taste consistent across the board.
Yeah.
So, or evolves in a way that it's better than what it was before. But like, I worry sometimes where you get so inventive or excited about the shiny new objects that are out there that you lose your way. And I hope that most historically great whiskey brands haven't done that. Do you feel like that there's any ones that have kind of done that they fell off or anything like that? Or do you think that that's whiskey is kind of like tried and true kind of?
I think the oldest brands probably most certainly have.
I think it varies from brand to brand. This particular one, this is once again, it's Rogue Spirit's Dead Guy Whiskey. The current retail on this one, $48. They're from Oregon, and it's their own distillery, so it's Rogue Spirit's distillery. This is one where they have specified it as a 2-year whiskey. A couple of them that we tried last week were NAS, which stands for No Age Statement. And a lot of them do that. This entire market is all about blending. You know, you're blending barrels, you're blending from all over the place, looking for the right flavor, the right taste, the right product. As a result of that, you are required, if you put an age on it, you are required to age it by the youngest one that's part of the blend. So a lot of, like, for this one's is, they have disclosed it as a 2-year. That means that 2-year is the youngest one that they have blended with this. Chances are there's some 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-year whiskeys that have been blended in there with that, but they have to disclose that. So if it has an NAS, typically you're going to have, I don't know if you can go less than a year, but we tasted a couple that were 1-year whiskeys, and they weren't bad. I think out of all of them that we've tried, they were a lot hotter because they were so young. I appreciate knowing the age of the whiskey.
Gives you a ballpark idea as to what to expect.
And their site says that this one is listed as a single malt whiskey style, and maturation on this is aged in New American Oak barrels. It comes in at 40% alcohol, so that's 80 proof. So it's not a overly hot whiskey, but it is a 2-year whiskey.
And the smell on the nose, it's like, it's honey and vanilla, like right off the top. It almost smells like mead, honey mead.
Yeah. It's funny. A few days ago, I guess it was over the weekend, I got a text message from my son, and he always starts with sending me a text message of a pair of metal horns, the little emoji metal horn little icon. And so I replied back, hey, how's it going or whatever. And he's like, I was at the store today and I picked up a bottle of mead. And I really, really like it. I bet you do.
Yeah, mead is phantasmic. It says here in the notes, here on the nose, it starts with honey and grassy notes. I'm not picking up on grassy notes, as well as some cereal. Cereal can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. I'm thinking like, Fruit Loops and, but like what it actually means, it could mean like oatmeal, to other people. So... that or cream of wheat, whatever, malto meal, smokiness, some caramel, and citrusy notes. Think orange zest.
I'm definitely picking up the orange citrusy.
Yeah, I'm picking up the citrusy, definitely the honey, and some of the caramel, but really kind of nothing on the others. I'm going to give this a little mouth and see what happens. On the mouth, there's smokiness. It's got a bit of a burn. It's a spicy kind of in the mouth burn as far as the heat goes. I don't know. I'm still not picking up grassy notes, but it's been a while since I've mowed my yard, so I don't know.
I don't know. The power of suggestion is always there. I think, and I think it becomes very easy. Once I say it has this in there, it's easy to go, okay, yep, I see it. But I think I'm picking up a little bit of a grassy kind of a flavor on the palate.
So let me ask you, as, again, a guest here, you have done this a few times, right?
A few times.
So what is the process of drinking whiskey? Would you say that it's the same as like how you like approach wine, like in the sense of like when it comes to tasting it, or is there certain things that techniques or that you would suggest doing again for a rookie that would be better to be able to process and get those notes that you're suggesting, that you're talking about?
Early on, Jonathan found a great YouTube video that he passed around that we've talked about a couple times that talked about a process for enhancing the taste of that. And that is that it recommended you open the bottle, you pour your glass, and you let it sit and breathe for 1 minute for every year on the age. Then at that point, as you taste it, you should hold it in your mouth for 1 second for every year old it is.
And it's not like a hard rule. It's just a guideline. You know, if you're looking to try to enhance your experience with it, and like you probably saw us switching it around, holding it up, looking for legs. I only do that because I've seen wine people do that. I don't know.
And what is legs?
Legs is it's
you can kind of see the dripping, where it's actually
like when you get the liquid on the side of the glass and then you level it out again, you can see it form little streaks going down the side of the glass.
It's where it kind of just sticks to the side of the glass and kind of just stays in place.
Mm-hmm.
So why would that be either a good thing or a bad thing?
I'm thinking it has something to do with the ingredients and the fats that are in the
viscosity,
viscosity, and the thickness of what's going on inside the glass. But I don't know for sure because I've never been to an actual wine tasting. Wayne hasn't.
I haven't either.
Wayne's W2 here. He's been to several whiskey tastings, like with the flights. Much like what we have over here from what is it? Holtz.
What I love about showing up to Dub's house is having the experience, like the custom. Like you got ice that. Don't you have ice that? Or you have? Well, you have the. With the cherries, you have the skulls, the skull pins.
Yep.
Does your ice have?
I got skull ice cubes too.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
We recently got some ice trays that make square.
Yep.
To fit in the square bottom.
I got. It's actually a 2-part. So I got a new Fear ice cube tray.
Which I like those. Those are pretty cool.
The ones I had before, I absolutely love. The problem I have with them is the glasses that we're going to use today are the only glasses that I have that actual sphere will fit down into. The glass bottom old-fashioned glasses that I have, I can't put those spheres in there because they're just too big. So I got a new set that's a sphere that's just a little bit smaller, so I can use it in a lot of different types of glasses. And then it also came with a tray with the large ice cubes.
Okay.
Which we will use those in our cocktails later on.
All right.
I love this because of the smokiness.
Yeah, I get the smokiness on the mouth, not so much in the nose, and not even so much in the finish.
Expand on that a little bit more because like we already talked about, this is one that you really kind of have latched onto.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a lot to this one that really kind of excites you.
Like I don't know how to explain it, especially, but I think about it, I guess, to go with the cocktail, to go with the old fashioned. What I love about it is that you have it works really well in the sense of the subtlety. It doesn't run too hot, as like you talked about or described it. But like it's one of those things that when you're making like an old fashioned, which I love, it's kind of the cocktail that I kind of go to when it comes to it. The smokiness pops, it bursts through in a way that like that's the main thing that I taste and feel. And I think that when there's some whiskeys that I've tasted that the other notes that I get, they just feel like they are, and I wouldn't say confusing, but they just kind of like take over in a way that I'm like, I'm not vibing with this. But with the smokiness in this drink, I immediately kind of had this connection with it where I felt like, yeah, I can see myself sitting by a campfire and having that smell come in, having this drink and tasting it and having it kind of just engulfed me in a way that like I really wanted to like have that experience. And so that's why I love it so much, because I don't know if I've had another whiskey that the smokiness is as specific as this one. And that's the best way I can describe it, because I mean there's other whiskeys that are out there that have that smokiness. For me, it's that this one has like a really distinct taste to it. And for me, it's just an instant connection. And
maybe that can be found from the new American oak barrels.
Maybe, yeah.
They have to fire those barrels, and it's aged 2 years at the least 2 years with this age designation. So maybe it hasn't had a lot of time to pull vanilla from the charred oak, but it has had plenty of time. Really, kind of no other choice but to pull some of that smokiness out of it.
Well, and a new charred barrel is going to have a very, very distinct flavor that's going to come from it versus a reused barrel. That first fired new barrel is going to yield a lot more of its initial flavors than a barrel that has been reused.
And then on the other end of that spectrum, from the new, we have the finish. And the finish, I wholeheartedly agree with what you have written down here in the notes. The lingering finish, which it is lingering, is sweet and malty. I get sweet, I get malty. The honey returns with another hint of nuttiness. Maybe not so much the nuttiness, but the sweet honey and the maltiness.
There's a very good amount of sweetness.
Yeah. This is it's
on the nose, on the palate, and on the finish.
Yeah, all the way through.
What I like about the finish, though, is it has a very lingering finish to it, but not in a bad way.
Yeah,
I think we've had a couple that had very long finishes, and you get to the end of it, and you still have that taste just kind of you can't shake out of your mouth. Yeah. This is a nice, soft finish.
And I think again at the price point, that's where I think I'm surprised about this, is because like I think for me where it's like I could see myself potentially, and I've obviously, as we talked about it, like regularly have bought a bottle of this where I'm like, okay, I can work through this bottle and not be mad at myself and also be happy with myself in the sense of I'm having a great time drinking this. It's not something that where the finish is like so long where I'm okay, like I'm gonna have to sit with this for a little bit after I get through with it. But at the same time, I feel like it can compete with some of those ones that are the staples. And at least, and when I say that, I'm caution myself because I know that there's probably whiskey, more regular whiskey drinkers and be like, that's, blasphemy. Like you can't say that. But I guess I feel like it's just one of those things where it's like, again, I can sit out at the campfire and drink this and it is right in that middle area. That's perfect for somebody that doesn't have a ton of money to be able to buy, the highest, priced whiskey that's out there or bourbon.
And I would think at a $48 price point, you're definitely getting what you pay for. I mean, if you like, not everybody is likes a sweet whiskey or a sweet bourbon, and some folks, myself included, will say Jim Beam is a sweet bourbon, but this is easily 2-3 times as sweet as Jim Beam could ever hope to be. This is so honey forward. It's but like you said, Chandler, it's got the smokiness to it that I still don't pick it up on the nose, but it's definitely there on the mouth and the finish as far as smokiness goes. When we talk about the heat or it's really hot, it means like on the mouth, it burns shit out of you and then all the way down to the stomach and still sits there and it's mad at you and it's just like, I'm a volcano. And that sucks. I'm not a huge fan of that kind of whiskey or scotch or bourbon, but I like what we've talked about here with this Dead Guy whiskey from Rogue Spirits. It does give you a little bit of a burn
at the beginning, yeah,
but it's pretty much gone.
It feels like the moment that it's going down the throat, it's like it just disappears.
Yeah, once it hits about mid chest, it's pretty much gone, and all you're left with is kind of the burn, the spiciness or whatever that you might feel in the mouth afterwards. But this is pretty good. I would definitely suggest this for anybody.
Have you ever had it? This is the first time, right?
This is my first time having this particular whiskey. It's really good. It's really good. Mostly because I have a sweet tooth from hell. Like I'll eat honeycomb like a bear on bath salts. Like not the breakfast cereal, but like the actual honeycomb that the bees make. And I have to limit myself to a small like square of it. Otherwise, I'll murder the whole thing. So
I don't think I've ever had honeycomb.
You haven't?
No.
Okay. Well, not everybody has. They see it and it's like it's got beeswax in it. Like you know what honey is? I'm like, yeah, I get it. It's bee vomit. Whatever. Let's go. They eat the pollen. It churns itself in their little bee stomachs, and then they puke it out, and then they sit it there, and it gets delicious after a while. But still, I love honey. It's part of my soul.
I'm gonna have to I'm cataloging this of like things to do in my life is maybe have a honeycomb. The only honeycomb that I've ever had is the cereal, which I don't think is the same thing, right?
Absolutely not.
Okay,
absolutely not. Wow. No. You if you haven't had it by the next time you come over, or we come to your place and record. I'll make it a point. Maybe somebody will give me a reminder. I have honeycomb at the house. I have different kinds, and so I'll definitely bring some. We can share that moment. It hits me, man. It hits me, and it's just like I'm wrapped in a blanket of love and peace.
What kind of ratings do we want to give this one?
Oh shit, that's actually a good question. I hadn't thought about the rating on this.
So, again, remind me, when it comes to rating, what type of system? What type of system are we working on?
It's a personal rating.
Okay.
It's we try to, when it comes to rating what we drink, we stick to that drink because it's unfair to compare.
Yeah.
With anything. No. So we try to stick to that rule as far as what we're drinking in that particular tasting. So we'll go, and it's personal, like I already said. So it'll be just, 0? Is it 0 to 10 or 1 to 10?
1 to 10.
1 to 10. As for me in my house, because it's so sweet, and it also has a bit of a smokiness to it on the mouth and the finish, I give it a solid 8. I'm a bit of a optimist, and I'm very happy with things of sweetness and sweetness overload. I can handle that easily. I also agree with Chandler's assessment that this would make a great ingredient for a cocktail. And we've talked about using specific whiskeys or bourbons or scotches for specific cocktails because of what not just because of what the whiskey has to offer, but having a recipe tailored to that specific whiskey to help bring it to its full potential in a cocktail.
Yeah.
So I wholeheartedly believe, and that's why I'm giving it such a high rating, that this is a very versatile whiskey, even though it's 8 out of 10 on the tachometer. Like it's got the sweetness factor pegged at a solid 8 or 9. I believe in this whiskey.
I agree with all of that,
except for the 8.
Well, as I continue to rate these at, I'm a little lower on that. I love this whiskey. I think it's fantastic. This bottle sitting in the back of my cabinet for as long as it is not a sign of me not liking it, because I do like it a lot. But for me, it's probably a 6.5. In my rating system, that is still a really good whiskey. And I think I put it there. Again, like I said, I agreed on all your notes on that. For me, there's something about it that makes this not a go-to type of whiskey for me. When I'm drinking it and I'm thinking about the drinkability. Part of that is not only is how easy is it to drink in the moment and the flavors and the sweetness and all that, but it's also that maybe it's muscle memory a little bit, but it's also just that having it becoming that go-to type of a drink. For whatever reason, as much as I do love everything about this whiskey, it's one of those that I love to have on the shelf and pull out once in a while. Mm-hmm. It's not my day drinker whiskey. And so because of that, I've pushed it down to a 6.5.
How about you, Chandler? Where does it sit with
What do
you?
you think?
Y'all making this tough because like I'm hearing.
So you've heard how we individually process these things and rate them. So I mean, if you had to throw anything at it 1 to 10,
well, you know that
let us know
like
why.
I've at the beginning of this conversation, like I said that this is probably my favorite whiskey. Like in the sense of like a consistent one that I would go to. Now, I agree with Dubs in the sense of like his assessment of it's not the one that I pull out like an everyday drink, but it is something that like I will pull out more times than like my Jefferson Ocean. Like it's like my Jefferson Ocean has only been drank twice since I've had it, and that's been over like a year or so. And I rarely pull out, probably because of the price point, probably because of the prestige of like how it got into my hands because it was on an ocean liner and all that type of stuff. So like there's something to be said about that. But I will, because it is my favorite, because you gave it an 8, I will say an 8.5 at the moment. Because of, I think, again, it is for being able to consistently purchase it. I think that is at a price point that's like, I don't have any like quarrels about buying it and knowing that I'm going to get a great experience from it. I'm not having to like jump up to 75 and buy this. And I know that like I'm putting a good amount of money into this to like, potentially take my time to drink this. If I like buy a bottle and I go through it, yeah, that stinks. But I mean, I know that I've had a really great experience with it. And I think my biggest drive is thinking about the experience. I love the smokiness. I really do love the smokiness. And it sends me back to thinking about being at a campground or campfire or something like that around a good fire pit, good group of friends, having a good time. I think it's a great cocktail drink. And I think that the more that you put it in like creating cocktails for it, the smokiness and that distinct smokiness that it has will elevate it to why I gave it to 8.5. Again, it's my favorite, and so I'm probably a little bit more biased about it. But I think that's the reason why I'm giving it that number.
I like it. That's good reasoning behind it too.
Yeah.
It's that's what separates somebody with I don't know if a critical mind is the right word for it. Somebody that takes the time to evaluate their thoughts before they put them out there, versus somebody that just the only reason they want whiskey is to get drunk quicker. They just want to they don't like it really. They're just fucking bleh.
This is weird, but I also want to put a caveat to everyone out there because I feel like I would be doing a disservice if I had Katie's banana bread. It would be a 9.5.
Okay,
like it'd easily be a 9.5. But like being that I didn't have it.
And all you have is just our word.
Yeah. So I'm
we're our evaluation.
Like I'm not trying.
Right.
I'm not trying to say something, but I'm trying to say something. So like, that's the thing. But other than that, 8.5 works.
We do have some brownies up there that she made.
We do.
She did make brownies, which is amazing. But the way that you've talked about this, basically exercising more banana bread from her, seems like seems like that the banana bread is the way to go. Like these brownies are going to be amazing, and maybe they're the same thing.
And she's made other things before.
Oh,
She
yeah.
made us chocolate chip cookies the night that we came over to brainstorm. And
See,
we hadn't had anything to drink, I don't think.
Last week we had the peanut butter chocolate covered balls.
Those were really good.
Buckeyes.
See, this is where, like, I'm just trying to get as many guest appearances as I possibly can, because it sounds like you guys are being spoiled in a way that like
we are.
that I cannot, like, I want to get in on the game. Like, I'm like, how do I get? You might see me not even be on the podcast, but like just show up on Wednesdays randomly,
Right.
just to get one of the treats.
Scratching at the windows
I'll
like
be-
zombies in the night. It's
Yeah.
just like, hey.
I'll be like, trick or treat, like, can I have one, and then disappear, and that's all I
Trick or
got.
treat, you bearded some
Yeah,
bitches,
yeah.
let me in.
Yeah. If you could just give me a shot of whiskey
Yeah.
and whatever dessert of the
Delicious
week,
confectionery
Yeah.
at hand.
and
I'll be
will
on my way.
I'll be I was just in the neighborhood.
Right.
You'd be like, you don't even live close to here. What are you doing here? I was just here.
Man, you live in Raytown.
Yeah.
You're in a
You
fucking-
don't even live close to here. Yeah, I was just here. I was just wondering.
I heard, guys, I heard there was banana bread.
More banana bread.
Guys.
Yeah, we tasted the Rogue Dead Guy whiskey, neat, and now it's time to have this as a whiskey sour.
Yes, sir. And what do we have in here?
Sorry, just taking it in.
He took a whiff.
This particular recipe was 2 ounces of whiskey, 1 ounce of lemon juice, 1/4 ounce simple syrup, egg white, and a dash of ginger on top. Shaken in a shaker with ice, and then poured over a large ice cube. And we garnished it with one of those lovely barrel-aged cherries that we keep finding ourselves talking about week after week. But and then dehydrated orange slice, and then something I did not too long ago, and I don't remember, maybe I saw it on a video or whatever, but I just hit just a quick splash of the bitters on top of everything.
Which bitters is it? You've got several.
It's
now.
just the standard aromatic.
aromatics. Okay.
Now
Okay.
this doesn't feel, just based on your description, like your college whiskey sour. So like, where the inspiration for this?
This is definitely not a whiskey sour with a Miller Lite kind of a cocktail, if that's where you're getting at.
Yeah, and I think that, like, it's just fascinating how robust, because I think that some people would easily think, like, let's just throw it away, like it's a whiskey sour. This is just like, 2 parts putting it together, and then like, it's okay.
So up till recently, my whiskey sours were always whiskey, lemon juice, simple syrup, done.
Right.
You throw a cherry in there and you call it good.
Yeah.
As I've kind of dug in and subscribed and watching just tons and tons of these cocktail videos that you find on Instagram and TikTok, and kind of comparing recipes and how different people do them. I also have a bar book that has all the different cocktail recipes that you could imagine in there, comparing what it actually says and the different variants. I kind of started putting those other things together. And so the egg white is something that I knew of for a long time.
From the amaretto sour?
Well, just sours in general.
Okay.
Egg white, I knew an egg white was always an optional type of an ingredient. Mm-hmm. And because it's an egg white and it's that extra step,
Yeah.
I've never thought much about it, and it's just like, too much work, just give me the whiskey.
Right.
And but I tried it not that long ago, and
It's worth the work.
it takes to a new level.
Mm-hmm.
And then so
the egg white might not be best for every cocktail,
Right.
Clearly not. But like for what we've done and everything that you've researched, sometimes you've researched the same drink several times in one evening off mic, and definitely not off Messenger, because he'll take a picture out of every damn rough draft you got and send it. I'm like, this motherfucker, look at him go.
well, if you don't,
and then I'm egging you
if
on.
you don't
from the
first
other
succeed,
side.
you know, you got to try it again.
I'm like, I don't know if that would taste that good. Maybe it needs some bitters.
Let's try one more. So, but you know, and with all of these, I have just found having a good stash of these dehydrated orange and lemon slices is just fantastic. And just about, in my opinion anyway, just about any one of these cocktails, or even neat, if you're just drinking neat, throwing that dehydrated orange slice in there just adds just a little bit of that citrus flavor to it. And so that's always in there. Recently, I saw one of these Instagram videos that I saw had a dashing of ginger on top of the egg white foam.
Did they slice it, or
it was just there in like the final photo, so I
Okay.
didn't really see. So I'm not sure if they did a grated ginger. Here we just used just the from the spice cabinet.
Okay.
Our powdered ginger.
Okay.
Kind of just dashed on the top of it for just a little extra flavor pop. And then one of the other videos I saw, they had, or no, actually it wasn't on a video. It was just something I just tried. And if I was being honest, a lot of times I might try things just because of how I think it'll look. And so I had a great photo cocktail that I made. It had a great, nice foam head on it. Took the photo, had the orange slice and the cherry positioned in there just right. I actually, on that particular one, I had done just a slight squeeze to the cherry, so there was a little bit of the red juice sitting on top of there. And that's what gave me the idea of, I wonder if I just put a couple polka dots of bitters on top of that. And so I did it, but then I tried it, and wow, the explosion of flavor, just having just that little bit of bitters on top of the surface, it's kind of made me incorporate that into anytime I'm doing a whiskey sour now.
Well, hell, on that note, I'm ready to try this out.
Yes, sir.
How
Cheers.
about you guys?
Cheers.
Cheers.
Wow.
There's that bitters.
The bitters with the lemon and the whiskey, the Dead Guy whiskey from Rogue Spirits. This is a pretty good sour. It's probably my favorite of the sours that we've had. Like we've had the sour with the mint over at Mitch's house, and we had another one recently, and this is probably my favorite, and I'm not entirely sure why. I can taste the ginger off the top. It's really good.
One of the things that I think is interesting is that like that smokiness that I love from it isn't like really present. That I personally I don't feel like it's there, which is unusual because I would expect to kind of have that come to the forefront. And I don't remember
that was one of your favorite things about the Rogue whiskey.
Yeah,
the
and
Dead Guy.
I don't remember you had the vanilla note, so I wonder if that's coming through a little bit more than the like the smoky flavor, that kind of taste that I love. So that's really interesting that like because of the cocktail and what the other ingredients are brought to the table, that it's kind of tempered the whiskey in that kind of tone that's there.
Yeah, the cocktails are. How did we put it? We kind of put it tailored to the whiskey itself. And when you look at the flavor notes on the mouth, the flavor taste palate, the honey is ever present on the palate, continuing into malty and vanilla notes with smoky overtones. There's some coffee and caramel in there as well, and the finish is lingering sweet finish. And malty, the honey returns with another hint of nuttiness. Now, when it comes to this cocktail here with the whiskey sour, it's you can taste the honey. It tastes like it has honey in it, and that's coming straight from the whiskey, and not just because I have a little block of honeycomb here from Messer Bee Farms and it's looking at us.
Yeah, I'm excited to try that because I don't think I've ever had honeycomb before.
So neither one of you have ever, unless it's the breakfast cereal.
Unless it's the breakfast cereal.
All right.
And I've eaten my fair share of that.
Yeah, we'll have to get ourselves some forks and take a little chunk of it and chew it up and see what y'all think.
Yeah. This is gonna be great. I'm excited. One of my questions I was gonna ask both of you. Do you know like the origin of whiskey sour?
I do not.
Nope.
Do you know? You want to take a guess of where it's been first mentioned? I cheated a little bit. I looked it up on Wikipedia.
Well, that's fine.
Perfect.
That's fine.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Ooh.
I'm going to say in the United States. So you got to figure out a state where it was first mentioned, published in the newspaper. I'll give you the year, 1870, Where do you think?
1870. So this is
post
wow.
Louisiana Purchase. So there's the southeastern states.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Florida is the orange state. I'm trying to figure out where we get most of our lemons. I'm drawing a complete blank on that. I'm thinking it's California, but I don't know.
I was going to say San Diego, San Francisco, Bay Area.
The Bay Area.
All right.
Fuck it. I'll go Florida.
Okay. And what was yours, Wayne?
Yeah. Let's say San Francisco.
Okay. So it's a 1 in 50 guess, so I didn't really the odds were not stacked in your favor. Actually, the first time that it was mentioned in a newspaper was in a Wisconsin newspaper.
Wisconsin? Huh.
And in 1870, which I think is fascinating. So, I don't know. There's a lot of, like, in 1962, another story published it talking about a whiskey sour, a Peruvian newspaper. So, obviously, like, this is just a bite-sized piece of information that I'm just, like, quickly reading, which doesn't describe, like, where it, like, originally came from. But I just think it's fascinating that, like, Wisconsin.
Does it say what they made it out of?
Let me take a look at that.
Or like the original cocktail recipe? Because I mean, shit, maybe they have. What'd you say? 1870.
That's where the first. Yeah.
I mean, they could have been barrel aging things by then. You know, they could have had a nice bourbon and all that.
So for this, they don't really say any more about it except for that.
Okay.
It was historically mentioned. But I can't even pronounce the name of the location of the newspaper, but the Plain Dealer is the newspaper.
Very cool. That's a very old cocktail.
I would have never thought Wisconsin, or I would. I don't even know if I would have thought 1870. And you know, there's some dickhead at a bar somewhere that's been like really trying to perfect this thing and make it right.
I always think that's fascinating with like a specific drink that you love or a cocktail that you love, and you are just trying to level it up to like, and I feel that way with the old fashioned. Like, I have gathered specific thoughts about what I love about an old fashioned and which place can do a really good old fashioned and what is not great about it and what I prefer, and all of those things are kind of coming together and trying to find like basically like like I'm Indiana Jones, like I'm looking for like the temple of the old fashioned and the perfect the perfect one.
You're trying not to like run into the guy with the Kali Ma.
Right.
Kali Ma Shadite.
I'm
like,
looking
I'm
looking for my old fashioned to be in a museum. That's basically what I'm looking for.
Safely behind the glass.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So that's what I'm looking for.
Not glowing so hot it pops out of your satchel and lands on alligators down below.
I see the old fashioned sitting on the platform,
and you got your bag of sand, and you're trying to.
I was gonna say like I got like pick your beer, and I'm just trying to replace it with whatever beer that's sitting there.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the egg white? Did it bring anything to it? Did it do anything for you?
So I feel like I guess maybe let me ask some follow-up questions before I answer that.
Okay.
So what is egg white supposed to do?
A couple things. Visually, it floats to the top, gives a nice white head on your cocktail, color separation, but it also gives it a creamy texture. I don't know flavor-wise it adds anything. Maybe it does.
I think it kind of mellows out the harshness.
It might mellow.
Flavors are in there.
I would agree with that.
And presentation-wise, like you said,
but it makes it super creamy.
So that's where I feel like this. When you talk about the mellowing out, I felt like it brought all the ingredients to a more consolidated level, where I could like they all work together. Because again, with the lemon juice, it's easy to get quickly sour. And I don't feel like it was too sour. It was very Goldilocks. That's the best way.
It's in the Goldilocks zone.
Yeah, it was like I felt like the egg white probably helped bring it to like the Goldilocks zone and make it feel more cohesive and together, which was great.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree. Plus, I like it for the presentation alone. It's got like a nice pillowy top, with the head, the foam on the top. and you can really, it makes a color contrast with the bitters, or with the little dusting of the nutmeg or whatever on there, and with the orange slice and the cherry. It's all just, color contrast. It's not some monochromatic kind of boring thing. Just presentation-wise, it looks really cool.
In addition to, like, what you're talking about with the dash of ginger on top, like that first initial taste to get, like, some of that ginger was really, really great. And I felt like the way the orange was dehydrated, like, the taste of that, like, as kind of like an after, like, a nice little snack with the cherry is like, let me, and it's just like a nice little closer to the drink. And I feel like it was just tasty, and I love, this is what I love about, like, there's something to be said about neats, like, and tasting it and having the core taste of whatever you're drinking, but I love cocktails so much because there's a variety to it, and there's a different way of telling the story with the drink, right? Yeah. So, like, having the additional garnish, the layers to it, adding the egg white, you get more of that story. Like, what we've been talking about, or what I've been talking about, is the experience, right? So for me, having something that, like, I drink and it's not so convoluted. So don't get me wrong. Like, I think that you can go too far with, like, a garnish, and, like, I'm not the type of person that loves a Bloody Mary that has like 50
half the garden in it.
Yes, like, I think that's
and a chicken leg.
I think that's wild. Right. I think that's wild. I'm more of, like, I probably will lean more towards, if, like, we were talking about food and, like, chef's table type food, like, more of, like, here's a little bit, taste it. It's been fine-tuned to, like, hopefully the closest of perfection in heaven that you could possibly get. And then, like, taste it and, like, what do you think about it? Let's talk about that. And less, let me give you a table full of the biggest burger, or, again, the Bloody Mary, where it's just like, I'm going to throw the whole entire kitchen sink and garden to it, that you're like, what the heck is this? And so what I love about kind of what was created here is that cherry and that orange really was just like the perfect amount to get a taste and a feeling that completed the rest of the drink. And I think that, like, if you can figure those things out, it adds, it takes it to another level.
Yeah, I think that sums it up better than I could have put it.
Real quick, one of the things that I feel that's been fascinating with this experience. First of all, thank you for letting me partake with you.
Yeah, thanks for coming out.
Wonderful human beings. I just, your warmth and compassion.
As long as you mean that as a compliment, I'll take it.
This is not sarcasm coming through. This is my writers talking right now.
Right, the writers have written it down. You are reading it like a faithful agent.
No, I really appreciate both of you. And I will say that, like, what I love about this is that, like, it's easy to think, you hear whiskey sour and you just say, well, let me get something sour, let me get something whiskey, and put it together. What I love about this is, like, this experience is that we are just the same thing with, like, anything. You can take it to another level, right? Like, it's don't just get home and just be like, well, I'm just going to have a drink and just put something together and it's like, whatever. It's like, if you take the time to, like, show the passion and the and the love that, like, that you have into, like, a drink, like, it will bring so much joy out of just that experience that you're having with the drink. And so it's like, don't just buy the store-bought sour mix that you have.
Right.
Like, don't just buy, be willing to, like, invest in, like, a good whiskey, because it might take it to another level and, like, enhance your experience. And then it's not just, like, chugging down these drinks. It's, like, taking a moment to, like, enjoy it, right? And I feel, again, with this one, I feel that way, where it's just like, I drank it fairly quickly because I loved the taste of it, but I also would have been completely happy just sitting here and mellowing out and just sipping it and walking away with that as just one drink.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think our guest, Mr. Chandler Johnson, has hit every nail on the head, right square in the head. And we started with a going back to the tasting, the Dead Guy Whiskey from Rogue Spirits, and it was a honey forward, pretty much all the way through the nose, through the flavor and the finish, and I think that was key for making this whiskey sour really exceptional as far as whiskey sours go. And W2, you put a lot of work into this, bringing it to the table for us to try out, and I 100% applaud. I would applaud. I don't know what it would sound like with the microphone. It's really great. But dear listener, if you're looking for a whiskey sour, a recipe to take your whiskey sour to the next level, start with quality ingredients such as the Dead Guy Whiskey from Rogue Spirits. Like we said, it's honey forward. It's got vanilla, kind of a citrusy note. It's got a lot to offer just alone, and even a little bit of smokiness that Chandler enjoys, and that I enjoy. I think all of us here at the table enjoy the smokiness in some whiskeys, and especially Scotch. The whiskey that we will have available on our socials and in our notes online, you can check out at savortheburn.com. Please continue to check us out at savortheburn.com. It's an ever-evolving website. W2 puts a lot of work into that thing, and give us your feedback on there. There's an option where you can call in and leave us a voice message, or you can email us, info@savortheburn.com. You can email us individually, Jonathan, Nathan, Jonathan, at
as Carl likes to say,
at savortheburn.com. Or email w2@savortheburn.com. Let him know that his recipes that he's put so much work into are amazing, or on the other end of the spectrum. But sure. I don't think you're not going to like it. The egg white idea has thrown people off before. Just even talking about egg white. Why would you put egg white in it? I'm like, hey, just try it. See what happens. You might like it. Every friend was once a stranger. Just you might like it. Who knows? Give it a shot. And so yeah, we're pretty stoked about that. And please continue to check us out on all podcast apps, including but not limited to Spotify, Audible, Apple Podcast, Pandora, Google, Samsung, and many, many more. And share those, damn it. And stop by the Facebook and Instagram and our Twitter and fucking TikTok, and hit like and share that stuff with your friends. And don't forget, people, keep on
burning.